The world's fastest growing economies are mobilizing to respond to Donald Trump's trade war. Brazil, which currently chairs the BRICS bloc, is pushing its partners into an urgent virtual meeting next week to discuss the sweeping tariffs imposed by the United States. According to a Bloomberg report, the Brazilian president quietly called for the meeting. According to it, the aim is to address Trump's tariffs head-on and to rally support for multilateralism among the world's major emerging economies. It is important to note here that the call has not yet been officially announced. Remember, over the last 2 decades, BRICS has grown from an acronym into a political force, positioning itself as a counterweight to Western influence in global institutions. Expansions in 2023 and 2024 swelled the group to 11 members, amplifying its global heft, even as divisions remain over issues like Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Now, under Brazil's 2025 leadership, the bloc is trying to sharpen cooperation across the global south. Trump thrust Brazil into the center of his global trade war in July, threatening higher tariffs unless the country's Supreme Court halted the trial of the former President Bolsonaro on coup attempt charges. And when Brazil refused, Washington slapped a 50% tariff on Latin America's largest economy, reportedly. Airplanes and orange juice were exempted, but most sectors were not. And it's not just Brazil. The United States has leveled different tariffs against different BRICS members, making unity harder, but also giving the bloc a shared sense of urgency. Unity was the message sent out from the SCO summit in Tianjin, where the Indian Prime Minister, the Russian President, and the Chinese President stood together, handshakes, hugs, a clear signal that BRICS is central to shaping a multipolar world. And in the past, Trump has not been silent on his views on BRICS. Facing BRICS' rising influence, Donald Trump has dismissed the bloc as a quote-unquote little group. He says BRICS is trying to undermine the dollar. He has portrayed BRICS as a bloc that is anti-American and warned that its nations could face retaliatory tariffs. Analysts saying this is more than just rhetoric. But Trump's aggressive stance has pushed emerging economies closer together, perhaps unwittingly, helping BRICS consolidate its role as a strategic challenger to the Western financial order. Still, Bloomberg reporting President Lula does not want next week's meeting to turn into an anti-US summit. The goal, according to the report, is defense, not confrontation. Moreover, just this week, the US revoked the visas of the Brazilian Supreme Court justices and sanctioned the judge overseeing Bolsonaro's case. And so for Lula, the timing is critical. Bolsonaro's trial opens Tuesday, which could turn into a flashpoint, which the Brazilian officials fear Trump will take advantage of. The virtual BRICS talks will also follow a weekend of high-level diplomacy in China, in fact. President Xi Jinping hosted SCO leaders, including Prime Minister Modi and President Putin in Tianjin, before holding bilateral talks with Putin in Beijing. Within BRICS, Prime Minister Modi has often been seen as Trump's closest partner. But after Trump turned his fire on India, imposing harsh 50% tariffs, trust in Washington seems to be eroding fast. And that shift clears the way for a more substantive BRICS resolution this time. And so at stake is a lot more than trade. The question also is, how can BRICS push back, if at all, against Washington's economic pressure? And the answer may be beginning to take shape if and when the leaders log in for that virtual meeting. On to Sudan now. A landslide that struck the Mara Mountains area of western Sudan has killed over 1,000 people. According to the Sudan Liberation Army, the landslide that struck on August 31 after days of heavy rainfall destroyed an entire village, which has been leveled to the ground. It has been touted as one of the deadliest natural disasters that the country has faced in recent times. The rebel group, which controls the affected area located in the Darfur region, has appealed to the United Nations and the international aid agencies to help recover the bodies of the victims. Much of Darfur, remember, remains largely inaccessible to the international aid organizations as the area is fraught with tensions as well. Sudan is also torn by a civil war now in its third year, which has displaced thousands who had sought shelter in Darfur. Parts of the country are also reeling under famine. Since March, when the Sudanese army took control of the capital Khartoum, the fighting with the paramilitary rapid support forces has escalated in North Darfur, killing hundreds in recent months and deepening the humanitarian crisis in the region. China is preparing a massive military parade in Beijing, marking the 80th anniversary of its World War II victory. Beyond the mega extravaganza of the parade itself, the bigger event and its build-up translating into a show of strength that underscores President Xi Jinping's deepening ties with Russia and his push to challenge U.S. dominance.
The Russia-China bonhomie and a strong message for the White House. On the eve of the mega parade, Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin met in Beijing at Xi's home, a special privilege extended to his no limits ally. Russia agreed to supply more natural gas to China and signed a memorandum on the power of the Siberia 2 pipeline. The two also announced a new visa-free travel arrangement for Russian citizens.
The memory of being brothers in arms, trust, mutual assistance, firmness in defending common interests formed the basis of the comprehensive partnership and strategic cooperation between Russia and China in the new era. We were always together then. We remain together now.
China and Russia have remained true to their original aspirations and stayed the course, achieving fruitful cooperation across various fields. China is willing to work together with Russia to support each other's national development and revitalization, firmly uphold fairness and justice, and promote the building of a more just and equitable global governance order.
Beijing is rolling out the red carpet with a strong anti-West flavor likely to take center stage. North Korea's Kim Jong-un is in Beijing. Russia's Vladimir Putin will also be seated next to Xi during the parade. Masoud Pezeshkian from Iran will be there, holds in place for a mega show of unity against the West. The parade is designed to showcase China's military prowess and geopolitical might. The world's second largest active military, with more than 2 million personnel, is holding one of its biggest parades ever. Watchers say the list of weapons to be on display at the parade reflect China's growing ambition to match American military power. All the systems are domestically produced. The parade itself has a reported budget of around $3 billion, roughly 2% of China's annual defense spending. For Xi Jinping, the parade is more than ceremony. Clearly, China seeks to portray itself as an alternative to the American-dominated post-war era. Amid high-stakes negotiations with US President Donald Trump's ambitions over trade and tariffs and potential conflict over Taiwan, this is a show of China's military and diplomatic strength. with a message that anti-West nations are united, confident and prepared to confront pressure from the US and its allies. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.